Hello and welcome to Maths with Eve YouTube channel. Today we are continuing with our series on Combined Science Paper 2 that was written in November 2024. We'll be exploring the fascinating world of science, diving into fundamentals of chemistry. This tutorial aims to provide you with comprehensive understanding of key chemistry concepts, preparing you for the future studies and application. Let's get started. So in the final exam, candidates are required to answer N2 questions in section C on the separate answer booklet provided. But here we are going to cover all the questions from number 10 up to number 12 since we are doing our revision. So number 10A, it is reading Fig 10.1 shows changes of states of matter. So first of all, it is very important to be able to label these type of states. We are having three states. A is the solid, B is the liquid, and C is the gas, right? And then we need to name the process that is represented by A. So A, we are having a change from solid to liquid, and it is known as melting. And then on A, part 1, number 2, we are supposed to name the process represented by B, where we are having the liquid turning into gas. The process is known as evaporation. And then on part 2, state N1 similarity and one difference between changes of states A and B. So first, let us focus on the similarity. Both the melting and evaporation, these are type of phases that are going to result due to change in temperature. Let's say we increase the temperature, that is where we are going to see the melting and evaporation, okay. But the difference is that melting is the process where solid changes into a liquid, whilst evaporation is process where liquid changes into a gas. And then on part 3, identify the state of matter that has the greatest amount of kinetic energy. So we are going to select gas as our answer. So among the states of matter, gases have greatest kinetic energy because their particles move freely with the most space between them, resulting in higher velocity and therefore more kinetic energy compared to liquids and solids. And then on part 2, identify the state of matter that has very little space between particles. So the correct answer is solids. In solids, the particles are closely packed and have fixed position in space with very little space between them. In contrast, liquids have more space between their particles, and gas have even more space with particles that are widely spread and free to move. And then on part B, explain why the lid of a pot is pushed off when water boils. 2 marks. So the lid of pot is going to be pushed off when water boils because of steam pressure. As water boils, it is going to turn into a steam, which is going to expand and build up pressure inside the pot. Since steam take up more space than liquid, the liquid increases rapidly. And then on part 2, explain why a piece of chalk has fixed shape. So a piece of chalk has a fixed shape because of its rigid structure. Chalk is solid, that is going to maintain its shape due to the rigid bones. between its particles. The particles are closely pegged and strongly attracted to each other, giving a chalk its solid and fixed shape. So that was all about number 10 in November 2024. We now need to proceed to number 11. On number 11, we are having a list of different substances. We have the iron sulfide, air, carbon dioxide, seawater, argon, and oxygen. We are supposed to define the term mixture. So mixture in combined science, mixture is a physical blend of two or more substances which are not chemically combined together. We are supposed to identify two mixtures from the list. So examples of two mixtures from that list, we are going to select air and seawater. And then on part 3, identify from the list N1 compound. So the first compound is iron sulfide. It is a compound which is a chemical combination of iron and sulfur, and also carbon dioxide is a chemical combination of carbon and oxygen. And then on part B, explain why argon is called a noble gas. So argon is a noble gas because its outermost energy level is fully occupied with electrons, making it stable and unreactive. Argon exists as single atoms rather than molecules, which is a characteristic of noble gases. And then on part C, different components of a dye can be separated. Name a separation technique that can be used. So it is known as the chromatography. It is the one that is used to separate components of a dye. And then describe how different components of a dye can be separated. So we need to explain using the paper chromatograph. So what happens is that a small sample of the dye mixture is going to be prepared. That is the first step. That sample is now going to be applied to the stationary phase, that is the paper. A solvent is applied, allowing the components to separate based on their interaction with the stationary and mobile phase. And then lastly, the separated components are visualized using ultraviolet light, chemical staining, or other detection methods. So in summary, that is what happens when you want to separate different components of the dye. So that was all about number 11. That was in November 2024. We now need to proceed to the final question of the chemistry section. It was a question on the production of ethanol by fermentation. First of all, we were supposed to state the role of yeast in the fermentation process. So yeast is going to consume sugar from the fermentation medium and then convert it into ethanol and carbon dioxide. And then on part 2, we are supposed to write a weight equation for the production of ethanol. So for us to produce ethanol, we are going to use glucose in the presence of yeast and in the absence of oxygen in order to give us ethanol and carbon dioxide. And then on part 3, we are supposed to draw the displayed structural formula of ethanol. So on the displayed formula, what is very important is that you first need to know the chemical formula of ethanol. It is C2H5OH. So we are having 2 carbons that are connected to 5 hydrogens and also the OH group. So that is what is represented on that diagram. And then on part 4, we are supposed to state the homologous series to which ethanol belongs. So ethanol is classified as alcohol. And then on part 5, state N1 use of ethanol. So ethanol is used as solvent in production of pharmaceuticals, cosmetic, and other chemicals. Ethanol is also used as biofuel. It is going to be blended with petrol, providing renewable source of energy. It is also used in the production of cosmetics, skincare products, and hair care products. And also ethanol is used in the food industries, in the beverage industries, in order to produce beer. And then finally, there was a question on empirical formula calculation. The question is reading, a hydrocarbon contains 0.12 grams of carbon and 0.02 grams of hydrogen. Calculate the empirical formula of the hydrocarbon. So in that hydrocarbon, we are having carbon and hydrogen. So the first step is of writing carbon and hydrogen. And then after that, we need to give the percentages or the quantities of the carbon and hydrogen. For carbon, we are having 0.12 grams, and then for hydrogen, we are having 0.02 grams. After that, we need to divide by their molecular masses. For carbon, it is 12, and then for hydrogen, it is 1. So 0.12 divided by 12, we are going to get 0.01. And then 0.02 divided by 1, we are going to get 0.02. And then the next step is that we now need to divide by the smaller number of moles, which is 0.01. If we say 0.01 divided by 0.01, we get 1. 0.02 divided by 0.01, we get 2. So it means that we are having 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen. So our empirical formula is going to be CH2. So this marks the end of our tutorial today on chemistry section of combined science that was written in November 2024. Thank you so much, guys, for following me on this channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos. For those who want to join my WhatsApp classes, you can contact me on 0776 824159. Thank you.